Well, welcome, John. We're glad you're here today,
Thank
and
you, Sue.
I'm glad you're. I'm sad to hear that you're moving to the West Coast, but I know that's exciting to you. You've been here at the Oak Park Conservatory since 1984 as the village horticulturist, and so we'd like to find out what this was like when you first came and how you got here, and just a little bit of history that we've all kind of lost because it goes so quickly.
Basically, I grew up on a dairy farm in Devonshire, South Devon, and my father gave me a small plot in the vegetable garden to grow vegetables and flowers, and I did that, and I enjoyed that greatly. So at the age of 17, I left school without a high school diploma or anything like that. And the options there at that time was to go either into a hotel service, because it wasn't far from Torquay and there were lots of schools there, or to go into gardening. And I loved being outdoors, and I couldn't see myself in a hot kitchen. Then I was accepted in the program, and I lived with 8 other young men at Dartington, in a place called a bothy, which is a very ancient Anglo-Saxon word, believe it or not, where the term brothel comes from, but I don't quite know why. And I went through that program and managed to graduate by the skin of my teeth, because the person marking the thing said you had the most interesting spelling he'd ever seen for various things. And then I got a chance to go to the Royal Horticultural Society's garden at Wisley. So I actually have letters after my name, which doesn't mean anything here, but in England I can call myself John Seaton RHS Dip Hort. It would be the official term there. I ended up going and working at Kew Gardens, just as a jobbing gardener at the beginning. And then a position came up to run their research greenhouses. They were known at that time the George Laboratory greenhouses. One little girl came in one year, many years ago, and said, "I have to move, and I can't take Pip with me." And I said, "Who's Pip?" She said, "Well, it's my parakeet. And this is such a lovely place. Could he be here?" So that was the camel with its nose in the tent at the beginning. That blossomed, and we had Lady Goullion finches, we had all sorts of things over the years. But the birds, to me, brought a lot of people in, and it was another dimension to the experience of walking around in January, hearing tropical birds squawk at you. And thing that occurred was this hail storm, and it started to hail, and we ran into somebody's house and could hear glass breaking in their glass porch or whatever. And so when it stopped, I drove over to the conservatory, and I came down East Avenue and came over the bridge. Everything facing north looked relatively okay. There were 1 or 2 panes out. But as soon as you turn the corner, the 220 or more panes were shattered, and you could hear the panes dropping, falling.
All that glass.
Panes of glass. You could hear the panes dropping. And the garden club ladies were stalwart in that they came and helped, and I've decided to rename one of Dante's circles, and that is pulling glass shards out of cactuses in the heat when the sweat running off your nose and you're trying to carefully pull these things out. And they did a sterling job. So for that, I will always be very thankful to the Garden Club. I think the happiest memory, apart from the time when the plant actually went through the roof and I got my 3 minutes of fame when I was on Channel 7, Channel 9 and Channel 5, and people would come in and or they would go to Garfield Park and they would say, "Where's the plant?" And they'd have to say, "Oh no, that's in Oak Park." So that was kind of special. And as luck would have it, they were having an international botanical conference at the Botanic Gardens. Mm-hmm. And I went, we'd only just put out a brochure, and I went with a bunch of brochures to the Botanic Gardens, to the organizer, and I said, if you'd like to, we've got a very interesting thing happening at the conservatory. If you'd like to do a field trip, anyway, 30 people came and they went through and they saw the plant going through the roof. And one person said, "You realize what you've got here?" And I said, "What?" He said, "This ficus that looks like Ficus benjamini is actually Ficus longifolia, and it's quite unusual. Sadly to say, they've cut it down." I think probably we're through. You've got enough stuff to put on the cutting floor as it is.